Welcome to the Sunday night live stream here on X and YouTube. Was having some technical difficulties prior, but I believe we're good now. Let's see. Let's go see if we're live. Let's go see if it's working. Dun, 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 dun. I see a pink little thing on X, and it created the post. Let's go. Now let's check YouTube real quick. And it says we're live on YouTube. We are Gucci Gang. Sweet. All right. Let me. Hey, sorry it took so long, buddy. We're live though. I appreciate you. What's up, guys? What up, what up, what up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, guys? Hope everyone had a great weekend. It took away all my graphics and everything that I had set up for this. Pieces of shit. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. How low can Spy go? Shit, I don't know. 500. Nah, I'm just kidding. Actually, I mean, you never know. This market's fucking wild. Mm. And we have a special guest this evening. The one, the only, from the Black Eyed Peas, Will I Am.
Let's go. What's up? What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight?
What's up? What's up, Will? I think we got everything working now. We should be good. Let's go ahead and get this link sent out. If you're watching the live stream right now on X, you should be able to like and repost the stream. It should have automatically created the live stream, which is good because it wasn't doing that prior. So we got that fixed. Make sure you do like and repost it. Let people know that we have begun, but also the ones that cannot attend this session live, if they want to watch this later on, this will be saved and recorded. And posted onto the YouTube channel and kept on my X profile afterwards. So they can continue to watch this later tonight before next market open to look at the different things that we covered during this session. So would appreciate everyone to like and repost it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this sent out in Discord. We are live. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we should be good to go. Uh-oh, I see Will's mouth moving, but I hear no words. Oh, it says he muted himself. It says
Oh,
guest
I'm
muted
back.
themselves. There he
There
is.
we go. Sometimes, for whatever reason, this XLR mic will if you don't talk, it like auto mutes, and then I gotta like reset it. I don't know. It's weird. I gotta figure it out. But
Yeah.
like you said, we got a lot to talk about tonight. There is a ton of action that has happened since Friday. I think we got some key levels to talk about. I think there's some good charts. I think there's some
Oh
good
yeah.
opportunities, maybe to the long side, to the short side. I think we got some good stuff. So big obviously the big one is gonna be out here, and we got, what do you know? Oil trading at almost 110
Dude.
now.
This
Crazy move up 20, almost 21%.
oil oil's insane. Oh wait, hold on. This says hi from Will's dad.
There you go.
What?
Checking
Wait,
in.
is that legit?
Yeah, that's legit.
Oh, let's go. Shout out Will's dad, Papa Will.
There we go.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, no, freaking oil is on. I mean, did you see the post that Trump sent out a little bit ago?
Yeah. Yes, I did. Quite interesting.
So, uh,
Is
look,
he is he
Frankie's.
call he's calling it out for a short, it's just when.
Yeah. That's. I don't know. Oil is moving like gold right now. Whenever
That's
gold was freaking
what.
exploding, everyone was waiting to try to short that thing, and it just kept going higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, we'll probably have that move in oil just like we did in silver and gold to the downside at some point. What was interesting is I think somebody was saying that XLE overnight was actually down, which is pretty bizarre.
Really?
But yeah, I don't know. Somebody said I was on Spaces on the Wolf Bitcoin
Uh,
on X, and they were saying that XLE was actually lower in the overnight session, which is interesting.
Let me
So
see.
I don't know if you're seeing that on your end.
No, 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 no. I had XLE up 3%.
Okay, then somebody was wrong. I was gonna say I don't know
Yeah.
how that could be the case,
Yeah,
but
no, no, no. Energy. So the previous session closed energy around 56.57. It's currently at 58.28, up exactly 3% right now in
okay,
the overnight
that's
session. At least
somebody
that's
gave
what I
us.
see on Weeble overnight right now, and it's updated. So yeah,
Yep,
yeah, that wouldn't make sense it being down. I do
yeah,
see it up 3%. So
that's what I was saying. Okay,
all right. Well, I think personally, I mean, we're in for a crazy week of trading. Um, you're going to have people, honestly, who are mainly going to be talking about and focusing on oil and energy. And then you have some people who think that this is the start of a huge, market crash or big move, correction, whatever you want to call it, to the downside incoming. Some people are saying it's going to be the same thing that it's been before. You gap down overnight, probably going to be down, 1.5% on SPY and Qs, and then you long the open, and we just retrace some of the move and just go back up. So it's going to be interesting going into next market open. I'm going to pull up Earnings Hub real quick and also the economic calendar. Let me see if we have any important things coming out this week. Dun, dun, dun. You have a few earnings before market open tomorrow. Honestly, there's nothing crazy. You got FCEL reporting and SBET and Zim. Nothing too crazy. Tuesday before the open, you have Kohl's, KSS, and Neo. After the close, you have AVAV and Oracle. Wednesday, before the open, you have Serve, and after the close, you have Bumble, BMBL, and Path. Thursday, probably my favorite day, you're going to have Dollar General, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Futu before the open. And then after close, you are going to have Adobe, RBRK, Sentinel One, and Ulta. So nothing too crazy when it comes to the main names that most people are watching, looking to trade. But there are a few things such as like your Oracle, your Path, your Dollar General, Adobe, RBRK. So a few earnings this week, nothing too crazy. So if you are interested in any of those names or are watching those, just keep in mind that they do have earnings. Let me pull up the economic calendar. Mhm. Nothing scheduled tomorrow. So we have a clear day tomorrow. No data. So that's good. Tuesday, we have existing home sales at 10 a.m. Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have consumer price index. You're going to have your CPI year over year, your core CPI. And at 2 p.m., you're going to have the monthly U.S. federal budget. So CPI, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. That is on Wednesday, March 11th. Thursday, you're going to have 8:30 a.m. Eastern initial jobless claims, U.S. trade deficits, building permits. So the main thing probably from that is going to be your initial jobless claims at 8:30, and then Friday, uh, decent day on Friday, actually. You're going to have GDP, you're going to have personal income, personal spending, you're going to have your PCE delayed report, you're going to have core PCE index year over year, you're going to have your durable goods and your job openings and your consumer sentiment as well. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern. So it looks like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. You're going to have a little bit of data coming out to move the market before New York Stock Exchange opens up an hour later. So keep that in mind for those 3 trading days. So Will, I don't know if you want to jump in first on maybe some more macro things, or if you want me to cover some of these off the wall kind of names that I'm watching. Whatever you
Yeah,
want
I
to do.
mean, we can start with, I guess, why don't we, because this is the big thing that I think we talk about. Let's just look at oil and let's
Yeah,
run
go
right
ahead and
into
stream
that
your chart,
first.
and I'll go ahead and throw it up.
Yeah, let me do that. Let's talk about maybe where we could go, what it looks like, and because that's the pressing. Um, so I had some levels, and I think that if you go all the way back, I mean, this is a long-term chart, right? Weekly goes all the way back to 2008. Right now, you're like kind of, I would say, in the middle of nowhere, where I mean, the next probably high you could have is maybe into the 123 area. And then if we breach that, the Russia-Ukraine invasion night was 129.42. So that's kind of your levels above you. I would think it would take a lot to get us above that, but if for some reason they hit some pipelines or they start to really extend this out further, then maybe we take a shot at that 2008 high, which is 146. So the only thing is, like, we're very overextended in the short term, and this could snap back easily with any headline from Trump or de-escalation or anything else. So I'm just looking at this and saying, okay, where are we going? Um, those are probably the levels above you. And then if we pull up the dollar real quick, the dollar has gotten a lot of strength as the euro sold off, as well as the yen. And obviously, dollar still safe haven currency, kind of right back at this resistance zone. So I think the one thing would be interesting is if the dollar were to start to back off a little bit, that would give me the indication that maybe some of that risk sentiment might change, and maybe the dollar here starts to turn back around at this around 100. So I think we watch that and we watch oil, but if this starts to roll over a little bit, it might tell me that there maybe some of the risk premium might come out of there. But the other thing is yields. Um, I think on the short end, just talking about this quickly, yields obviously spiked up on Friday. The 2 year was all the way down to 336, and we're all the way back up 20 basis points. And then when you look at the 10 year as well, that's back up from 392 all the way up to four. Actually, I think it's trading around 420 right now because these aren't open. But I think we've got to pay attention to that because part of this could be if oil sustained a little bit longer higher, it sets the market up for higher inflation longer term. And then the Fed can't cut. Longer term rates stay a little bit higher, and the fear of inflation creeping back into the market. But if this is over soon, I would expect oil will fall and rates would fall pretty aggressively behind it, and you probably see the dollar end up going lower, and that would obviously be a good thing for markets. I think real quickly, and we can get into the cues. I just want to. I was thinking about this over the weekend as I look at this. The one scenario, obviously, we're gapping lower, right? But if we get any headline this week, because we're gonna have a VIX in the 40s probably, 45. I mean, that's a big level that we've traded to. It is possible that maybe we break down somewhere into this area. Maybe we hit this 580 level, which we're probably close to. I don't know what Q's is overnight. Have you looked at that? Is it trading already? It should be.
Let me see
What's
if Webull has it pulled up right now. Yeah, QQQ overnight right now is sitting at
okay?
586.73. It's down 2.16%.
Right. So we're somewhere in this area. I think this low down here is going to be important, right around this 580.74, and then you obviously have the 200-day as well at 588. But there is a possibility that we get some news, you get a rubber band snap back, and then maybe we get back into the chop zone. But we're going to need some type of de-escalation news this week for that to happen. If not, it's probably just selling rallies from here. But I think on the macro front, we'll watch oil. I'm just trying to figure out. I was on Spaces earlier with Wolf, and I was trying to figure out what's the next catalyst for oil to go meaningfully higher from here. Like, what's going to be that thing? Like, they've already hit the oil fields. They're hitting the tankers. They, threaten to close the Strait of Hormuz. Like, I'm trying to figure out where's the next leg, the next 20% higher in oil. So I don't, right now I'm thinking we're getting close to peak oil volatility some here. Maybe it's 110, maybe it's 120, but like how do we get to 175 or 200? Like, do they start taking out pipelines and really disrupt like long-term oil flow? That would be the only thing that I think could escalate it further. But I would say we got to be getting close to somewhere in the peak oil volatility range in this 110 to 120 area. So we would need some significant escalation or damage to the pipeline systems where they can't get oil, transferred and too much damage and it takes a long time to rebuild. That's where I think you get that premium spike in oil. But outside of that, I think that we're at least in the oil front probably getting close to a short-term top somewhere here in the next, $5-10 range. That's kind of stuff I got on the macro front. But I'll let you go ahead and share let's
Yeah,
go through SPY and Qs and we'll kind of just talk about it and go from there. Look at levels and possibility scenarios for this week.
sweet. So let me go ahead and pull up um, SPY. Where's SPY currently trading at overnight? I just had Q's pulled up. SPY is currently down 1.8%. SPY is at 660 right now. So SPY is down $11 from previous session close. So SPY is currently sitting at 660. SPY is right there. So let's go ahead and throw on a few things here. Where's your daily 50 SMA on SPY at? Way above.
Well, we
We've been
we
below
are
for a minute.
sitting. ES is sitting on the 200 day right now, which is
Yeah.
66.14. Is ES futures 66.14 is the
I
200 day.
think I think Emp said something earlier about NDX being around that same thing, around that same spot as well.
Yep,
I think he
that's
said
correct.
NDX like daily 200 was around there.
24
So
191 is the NDX daily 200, which is where we're
gotcha.
close to now. Yes.
So I mean, honestly, I mean, SPY is currently we just went from here to here. Yeah, this little midpoint of this order block, and this is just going to be back from what September, October, and November. All of those areas dip down to right within there. I mean, getting down to 660 to 655 on SPY, I would say even if we end up breaking below that and SPY ends up selling all the way back down here to 635 and then getting down closer, 620. I think just from looking at the chart here, even just short term bounce, I mean, there's nothing bullish about these indicators right here. And Will has been talking about it for quite some time on the daily chart with the bearish divergence that has been on SPY and SPX. So as the market previously was, let me go ahead and draw this on here, was walking kind of up like this, right? Making these higher highs, and then we kind of topped out right up here. During that time where it's putting in these higher lows and higher highs and kind of stalling out right here, the RSI was putting in bearish divergence. I mean, a lot of times right up here. And if you look at the squeeze indicator as well, we have been in a daily squeeze since Friday, January 30th. So now it's going on, what, a month and what, a week or so, and we still have not fired this squeeze, and it's currently still in the squeeze. It just tried to move back up and flip bullish on the histogram, and it didn't. It went just shy of the zero line, and it got slapped back down. And then previous session, huge red candle to the downside. And if you look at your MACD as well during that entire time, you're just seeing it slowly. I mean, it crosses back and forth, positive, negative. But I mean, since you know the end of December and then going into mid January, it's just been slowly decreasing, going lower again with that bearish divergence on the RSI as well. So larger time frame during this entire chop back and forth range where SPY has, I mean, stayed in the same area since the start of 2026, going between 690s down to 670s. We're finally starting to break some real structure now and getting this big move downside. I just think that this area right down here on SPY between 655, 660, I think that would be a really good spot for a bounce. I don't think, honestly, a lot of people are probably going to be looking at this on Monday and Tuesday to chase this thing short, thinking that the market's just going to be crashing, going a lot lower.
I agree.
Um, and I don't think that's the case. I think what Will said earlier, I think was very important, where he said you sell the rallies. So you do not chase the short, you sell the rally. So SPY was at 672.38 in the previous session close, and it's currently trading at 660 overnight. So it's down $12. SPY gets down into this area underneath 660, 655, and you see buyers step in and defend this area, like previous price action has shown. If you see that risk to reward going long down here in this area to at least come back up to even retest these previous day lows, I mean, that's a great spot to look for longs to take this move back up. But then to Will's point right there, that's where you want to look to then sell that rally. Because if we end up popping back up to this area and just rejecting that spot right there, that's going to give you potentially a good risk reward to go short, take this thing back down, and then you can maybe get continuation, break this bottom area, and then sell it lower. But you're not chasing the short down here. Honestly, it's just whenever we hit these key areas on the larger time frame and buyers step in, you can play this thing both ways. Just make sure you're not having FOMO or trading with emotion. You want to make sure you're taking trades that have a lower risk, higher reward, trade set up on it. So look at these areas right here again for the bounce. I'll be looking for 660, 655 to hold on SPY. I would love to trade this back up to 670, 675. And then by that point in time, like Will said, look, me sell the rally up there, and then flip it short and bring it back down on SPY. I think one thing you can probably do down here as well going into tomorrow's session, I'm probably going to end up selling some credit spreads. So if you got
Yep.
Qs and SPY down, 2.5% out of the gate tomorrow, I mean, what's the probabilities that you're going to see a minus 3 to 4% down day or on SPY and QQQs to start the week? I mean, that's an anomaly. That's something that does not happen very often. So the probabilities is in your favor, in my opinion, to sell those puts, sell the put credit spread, and look to see if the market either holds this area and goes sideways. You collect premium that way based on the theta decay. But if it does bounce, and maybe does a slow recovery, walk back up instead of holding options all day long, trying to take this thing back up, you sell some credit spreads down there when the market's already overextended to the downside. I think that's going to be a very solid play going into this week.
Yep.
So that's
Because
one
you're
of
going to be
my
able to
top
get
things.
way far out of the money because
Oh,
volatility's so high. You can
VIX is going to
probably
be through the fucking
it's
roof
going to be in
tomorrow
the
if we open
40s
up like
probably.
this. You
Yeah, for
think?
sure.
You think VIX will be in the 40s?
I think it'll be close to 40. It should be. Yeah, 2% move in this tape when we were at, I think, what did we close at 29?
Yeah, just underneath 30. Yeah, yeah.
It's probably, here, the VIX futures right now, I think, are trading at 30, and you got to add, it's probably going to be in the high 30s, maybe like
Probably.
36, 37. It's going to be up
Yeah, I
there.
was I was just about to say probably between 36, 38 if we open up or over or minus, 2%,
So
2.5%.
you should be able, to your point, like you should be able to get way far. You could probably, honestly, tomorrow you might be able to get into the high 6400s and sell credit down there. Like you could get almost
Yep.
$150 out of the money because the VIX will be so elevated. You'll probably have to spread them a little bit wider because of the vol so high. You'd have to go, instead of going 10 or 15 wide, you might have to go 20,
I'm
25.
probably
But
going to do $20 wide SPX.
yeah, you'll probably have to do that. But I would say we look at the first move. But like, here's the other thing too. I'm sure there's people that were short over the weekend and that are short right now,
They're
and
going to cover.
they have puts and they're going to sell them and monetize those hedges at the open. Especially if people were buying puts for Monday's expiration or Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it is, or the weeklies because the market's already drilling so much. So the level I'm looking at on NQ though, just back to the futures is 23,904. So that's a level I think we could probably trade to. It's not far from where we are. It's a couple hundred points lower, but there is a low there from Friday, November 21st. So I would look at 23,904 as a level that we could test. But to your point, I think as we've been saying, and I've been saying this since the last couple months, like I don't have a reason to get bullish, right? I keep seeing outside of the war, take the war out, you got issues with credit, You got these private equity names that are selling. You've had the mag names that are trading terrible. You had, a stock like Nvidia that has good earnings that gets sold off. So like, we were saying this on stream a couple weeks ago. It's like Emp was saying, like, what's the next catalyst? We need something to go higher, and the catalyst we got was one to go lower, which was the war, right? So I think at this point, there's definitely going to be a tradable bounce in here, but I don't think that this is something that, as we close below the 21 weekly and we start to take out the 200 day or whatever that is, you're going to get a bounce that probably gets sold, and then we need to explore lower prices. And it's usually like a zigzag down. You don't want to buy the first breakdown of price structure. So like you have SPY and Qs breaking down to the 660, you get a bounce. It probably gets sold again, probably down to I'm looking at 65.25 in the SPX is the level that I got, and then you probably trade it to there, maybe get another bounce, and depending on the news flow and everything else, do we stair step our way that I still think is healthy down to that 6,000 level in SPX? That's possible. I think that that's something you got to put on your radar. So SPY 600, and I'm not saying we go there this week, but you know we could certainly go lower, bounce, put the trend lines on your chart, use the nine. We're going to be so overextended from the nine period when we open tomorrow as well. So I think that's not keep as you're trading, and I say this all the time. KC says all the time. Don't trade with a lot of size. This is not a time to go out, especially if you're trading futures. Keep the size small because you can get ran over. The price movements are going to be extreme. They're going to be fast. And look for honestly, right now, like Casey said, credit spreads, selling premium, volatility's high. This is an option seller's dream, is a 40-50 VIX where you can get very far out of the money. You can sell premium, and those premiums could collapse. And if you're on the long side, I said this earlier too, if we're going to trade this, there will be a bounce. I know, I'm telling you right now, Casey and I will both be on the long side, probably either one day this week or if it's into next week, whatever it is. You have to buy, if you're going to buy calls and you're trading like on the weeklies, you got to buy call spreads, because what happens is if the VIX can come in really fast, when you buy those calls with a high VIX, you don't get the same return, because what happens is the volatility comes out of those options, and that option price actually doesn't give you the same bang for your buck on just outright calls. So if you're going to trade them to the upside, I would suggest you buy call spreads, because obviously as volatility comes out, that short option on the spread is going to decay faster because the volatility comes out of there to try and offset some of that negative or the positive vega that you have in the long delta option. So trade the call spreads; they'll be a little bit better to manage as well. If you're intraday, you could probably get away with it, but I'd still, if that VIX comes in, 15-20%, the decay on the calls will actually can work against you slightly. So I would look for call spreads if you're going to look for the upside.
So one thing that I posted on X for Friday's session was puts on SMH. So I posted this in the premium Discord, and then a few minutes later, as I was driving, I sent a tweet out on X saying I was in the SMH puts, and I was in the 350s for March 20th. So was able to catch this really nice flush right here going into the end of Friday's session. Those 350 puts for March 20th were already up 40%. And the stock, I just checked it overnight, is now currently trading near 367, which is now this bottom yellow line right down here. So these puts, I mean, if market is still red or goes lower or stays flat and opens up around this area, just a quick update from for that trade from Friday, and then I sold some of those around 30%, sold more at 40, and then I swung the rest. They could be opening up, probably close to 200% down there in the mid 360s. So this chart right here, if you go to your daily, right there underneath that break of that little yellow line right there, that was the 40% move. That arrow right there is showing where it's currently trading at, which there's actually, now that I'm looking at it, look, there's actually a gap on the daily where that previous month low is down to right here, which closes at 365.57. There's a gap that's right there. So I will probably be selling all of them. I might leave one runner. I don't know. These contracts closed. Let me go check.
Yeah, that's gonna
I
be a
bought them.
great trade.
I
That's gonna
bought
be
them
a
at.
super trade.
I know. I bought them at $540 a contract. I sold majority of them over about $200 per contract. They went to 760 right here. So those contracts, if I had to take a guess, probably going to be anywhere. I would imagine 12, 12 to $1,400 per contract on the high end. If it stays down here and opens up around 365, it could be around $1,500 per contract, which means they're going to be up $1,000 per contract gain. Um, So who knows? Maybe I'm going to start my day tomorrow with those SMHs being up $1,000 per contract. So that can be fun. We shall see how that opens up. But just going to do a, I just wanted to do a quick update on SMH because that looks
The
like it's
other
going to
one,
be
are
opening
you
up
still
very
in are you
nicely.
still in the coin puts as well? Because coin,
No, dude,
oh,
I wish.
that's it. That's trading 188 right now, so that's gonna fill that gap
Oh,
up.
it's all the way back down. Look, at the
Yep,
bottom of that was where I wanted to go was 186.3.
yep, and it's one
Uh,
overnight right around 188 currently.
Look at
So
that. So it's underneath previous month low and back testing around your daily EMAs now. So yeah, that was a good short up there. I think it was around 205 whenever we were looking at it that day when this doji candle was closing.
yep.
That was a really nice short setup. I wish I would have taken that, but I did not. That was a good one. So obviously, a lot of these charts I'm going to cover very, very quickly here. These are all charts that have nothing to do with the overnight session, which where the market is currently sitting at right now, due to this homework was done prior to it. And again, where the market is overnight, you can trade futures off it. Can't really trade options or anything on it. The market could go lower, market could go nowhere, market could come all the way back up, and who knows, open up near fucking flat. You never know. We have literally over 12 hours of more movement in the market and futures and potential news, more headline stuff to come out. Who freaking knows where the market can go? So all of this is said and done prior to this overnight move, and obviously before next market open. So we'll see where the market goes. But one thing that I'm mainly going to focus on this week, and I think it could be a good week for it, honestly, is focusing on individual names. So what I mean by individual names is obviously there's going to be a lot of talk with SPY and Qs in your Mag 7 and then energy and oil, right? Those are going to be all the top things that people are going to be wanting to look at this week. Everyone's going to be looking at energy, they're going to be looking at oil and gas, they want to be looking at SPY and Qs, and then they're going to be like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Tesla, all these other things. So one thing that I'm mainly going to be looking at are individual names that you don't really check on too often to see if they have more relative weakness if market is weak, or this is what I'm mainly going to be looking at, which names are actually going to be holding up by market open tomorrow and show a little bit more of relative strength with all these other sectors and things potentially opening up red with the market being down. Which of these names actually have a little bit higher quality setup on the larger time frame to have a slightly more bullish bias on it? Because again, like me and Will were just talking about, tomorrow market opens up minus 2.5%. There could be a lot of short covering out of the gate. I mean, a lot of people trying to buy this dip. There's going to be people like me that are going to be selling puts way below, trying to collect premium. So if market does start to bounce up and SPY and Q start pushing, what names were already starting to in pre-market either are already green or coming back to where they were Friday? Those are going to be the names that I'm mainly going to be looking at. So a few things that just going through quick charts on random names was UPS. The reason why I pulled up UPS because UPS just got its ass kicked within the last few sessions. Stock was up at like 115, 116, and it took a dive all the way down underneath the 100. Stock fell 20 bucks in like 2 sessions. Um, I mean, your RSI is not quite overextended to the downside underneath 30, but it's getting damn near close. But this 100 area is where a lot of traffic you have back from October, big wick up here that slammed it back down. And then once it came back up into this area, you'll see price action kind of stalled before it ended up pushing up higher, right? It did nothing more than just come back down and hit this area, buyer step back in. They defended that and it got a nice little green hammer candle. There's a small gap to fill upside above that, but potentially going to be looking at UPS if UPS continues to open up above 100 bucks. I just checked it in the overnight session, and I want to say it was actually around that area. It was somewhere like 99 point something. So obviously everything is red overnight. But so UPS is currently, I think, sitting at 99.3. So it is near the bottom of this candle is 99.4. So it's actually sitting right back down here. So by next market open, if it is above the previous session low or is pushing back up above 100 near where it was on Friday's price action, this is the name that I'm going to be looking at to take long in the market if we do see a little bit of a relief tomorrow. So keep UPS on watch. Um, AMD, I have on watch for downside. The only reason why I have AMD on watch for downside is because it's in the third day of a daily squeeze. This thing is trying to base right around 190, but there is a gap to fill underneath for this thing to go to 170. So there is potential for a $20 drop on AMD to fill that gap. I know this area right here is a really, really big spot. So if it starts to break underneath 190, I don't want to chase it short. I want to see it sell underneath 190, do the SR flip, and then take it short and sell that rally. So if it ends up breaking down, coming under here, pops back up, I want to short the 190, and then I want to sell it all the way back down $20 lower to get to 170. Um, Obviously, just for shits and giggles, looking in the overnight session, AMD is currently sitting at 185. So if I put point A at 185, it is currently sitting right there, actually, where that white line is that was already on the chart from the volume profile. It is sitting right there in the overnight session. So if you do see 185 hold, pops back up, starts to reject around right here on 190, seller step back in. I think that can be a great area to look for a short, take it back down. When it breaks 185 again, I want to see continuation into that gap fill and then take it lower. So I want to keep AMD on watch for a move downside. One of the strongest names within the market lately has been Caterpillar. I'm not sure if a lot of people look at Caterpillar, but
I was short it from about 760, 770, and I covered some of
nice.
it on Friday. So once we
So it
broke those moving averages lower.
Yeah, so it just hit the daily 50 SMA on Friday session for the first time since it retested it back in December. The time before that was September. So it seems like 2 months, about just over 2 months go by from hitting it this time. It hits it again, and then just about another over 2 months go by. It just got to pull back down, hit the daily 50 again. So if Caterpillar by next market open, I marked an area around 675. Daily 50 SMA is sitting around 676.54 right now. If Caterpillar continues to push back and close above the daily 50 around 675, risk to reward, I think this could be a good dip to look for potential longs if buyers step in and defend that area on Caterpillar. If you look at the weekly chart, this thing has been absolutely grinding since the April dip has been a straight uptrend. The weekly 9 has held since June of 2025. It has never broken below it until last week was the first time that it actually closed underneath of that. So not a good sign whatsoever for a larger time frame. But again, I mean, it's not even down to its weekly 21. If it gets down to 630, I mean, that could be another great spot and great target downside for shorts. But I think before going lower, looking for 675 to hold and then pop back up, it ends up breaking back above 700, goes closer to the 720, 725 area. I think it'd be a great target upside and then flip it and reverse it like Missy Elliott and then sell that thing back down. So keep that one on watch. I know Adobe has earnings coming up on Thursday. There's a gap to fill, a little bit upside, closer to 290. Your weekly is just now back testing your weekly 9 at 285. If you zoom out on your monthly, it just tapped into a really, really big area. So a lot of buyers stepped in, defended this back in June and March of 2019 to 2020. It got fairly close in the lows of October 2022, and we just came back down and hit this area, they kind of step back in and slowly starting to pop this thing up a little bit higher. So again, looking at larger time frame, risk to reward, this could be a nice support bounce area to take this thing back up above the 320s, pushing maybe back up to the 350s. So I know they have earnings on Thursday. Obviously, going into earnings, it can be an absolute gamble. Earnings come out terrible, stock can go up 10%. Earnings can come out fantastic, and the stock could go nowhere or open up minus 2 or 3% the next day. Who knows? But keep this one on watch. I do think it does have potential on the larger time frame for the monthly. This is this gray zone right down here that it just tapped into, and it did get an initial good reaction off of that. So starting to get that move back up closer to 300. It could maybe catch a good run up into the earnings again if market does get a decent bounce Monday and Tuesday session after this weekend gap down. Maybe you get a nice move to the upside on Adobe for a nice little earnings run up. Again, just off that monthly support area as well. So
I think to your point, some of these software names like ServiceNow's run a lot, Adobe, Intuit, like these names have been bid, but they're still off key levels. Like Intuit's run a ton. There's that gap all the way up at like
INTU
46.
was such a great one, man.
God,
It's
I tell you what, I looked at that trade. I think we talked about it on stream maybe like a month ago, and I didn't get in that one, but I did get in Service Now,
love.
and I think that one could trade all the way back to maybe 530 into it, and then I would probably look to fade that once you get back up to those upper levels.
I
Because
mean
here's the
that.
reality. It's a bounce off the lows, but there's no doubt that these things are going to retrace some of these bounces.
Oh yeah, one
You
hundred
know, they
percent.
have to. So I would just be careful if you're in the software names. If you want to be long them longer term, or if you're long from down here and Intuit or any of these other software names, like I did Netflix last week, I sold calls against my long position. So I sold a bunch of calls out to next Friday just to have, because I knew I said, hey, it's bounced a ton off that 78 area, 80 level, ran all the way up to 100. I'm like, I'm going to take some premium in because chances are the stock could maybe stall a little bit. So, but just be careful on these software names that have run. They'll probably be an area where you could fade them a little bit.
See where SNDK is currently trading at
I was
490,
I was short. I was short SNDK from like
which is
640.
it's
I didn't.
literally
I didn't.
right
I
there.
didn't hold it, but I wish I would have.
I had this arrow right here drawn onto the chart, and then coming back down to the daily 50 at 492. In the overnight session, this thing's down 30, well, no, more than $30, right? Like, what is that? What's that math? $37 right now at 490. So it was in a daily squeeze moving to the downside. MACD has been bearish since the second week in February, and it finally had a really nice breakdown in the previous session. Want to see continuation down, break 500, go for that daily 50 tap at 492 currently. In the overnight session, this thing is currently sitting at 490. So we'll see how this daily squeeze and everything looks like tomorrow, but it was in a daily squeeze to the downside. And this was a name that I did have on watch to go lower and hit that area. So, again, it is currently there in the overnight session, but still going to keep that one on watch for maybe continuation move downside. MU, same thing. MU is in a daily squeeze right now. It's been in one since February 17th. Was going downside, it flipped back up, tried to go upside. It is now coming back down to the downside. That entire time, though, your MACD has been negative and moving lower that entire time. You do have support right down here, just underneath 365. There's a small gap to fill to 347, and you have a volume profile area around that 340 area. So you potentially see a move down here on MU to the 340s, 350s. And again, just for shits and giggles in your overnight session on MU, this thing is currently sitting at 350 to the freaking penny right now. So it is sitting right there in the middle of that gray box that I had already drawn here onto the chart. So again, just keeping MU on watch. I think what a lot of things are going to be is a lot of these names are going to hit these areas in the after hours, and then potentially if market doesn't rebound until once market opens up tomorrow, if we open up down here again, I don't think it's a chase short. I think if you didn't swing the puts and you did not catch this move down, look for buyers to step back in, defend this area, and if they do, take it just straight back up. That was a good risk reward trade for longs. So it sucks to miss out on the short, obviously, because you see in the overnight session things are already down a few percent hitting these areas. But I don't think it's a FOMO. I think it's an absolutely better risk to reward if you do see those buyers step in and then short the pops after that. So that is potentially two things right there, SNDK and MU, that I'm going to be looking at tomorrow. If they open up down here and hit those areas, buyers step in, I'll just take it straight back up and then short it. If I see sellers step back in for a lower high and then take it straight back down to these areas again, and then hopefully be able to catch my move since it's currently already down there right now.
One other, hey, can
Um,
you pull up this one real quick? Is
yeah.
pull up GEHC, which is GE Healthcare. I think this, depending on where we open overnight or tomorrow, I think this one into that like $70 level, 69, 70 could be a good setup for a bounce. You get a ton of equal lows there, right around
Yeah,
69 and 70.
it's kind of where that white line is already right there on that chart. That's sitting right around that 70 kind of psych level. There it
Yep.
is. Yep.
So that could be in play for a bounce trade. I'm sure we're going to open up quite a bit lower tomorrow, but that was one I was looking at. Maybe if we get into that $70, we got a bunch of different wicks on there on the daily.
Yeah. I'm going
That
to
could
add an
that could be a
alert right
bounce.
here with it breaking underneath 71 just to put it on my radar. If it starts to sell down, I'll put a level right at 70 right there. I'll keep that one on watch.
And then the other one I had for short was CEG against which is Constellation Energy. We've
Mm-hmm.
rallied. If you look on the daily, I had it on the daily right up to the 200, and kind of chopped at that 200 period SMA that
Mm-hmm.
I have against that 326 level. Probably a short against that level. We're probably going to be down overnight, but we've had one, two, three, four, five, six, like
Look at
seven
that.
daily candles.
You see
Um,
the zone
over.
indicator that already has that bottom highlighted right here?
Yep.
This giant red zone, and then the white line, I just changed that to your 200 SMA, and that is rejecting right there at the bottom of that red zone as well. So this overall zone right here in the larger time frame tells me that look for this area up here, SR flip spots, and then look right here as an SR flip spot. So now that we've broken underneath of it, you come
Now we're
back up,
retesting.
retest, reject it, SR flip spot, risk to reward looks good for a short.
Yep.
So that one, I'll keep that one. Let me put an alert at around 3:31, and I'm sure in the overnight session it's down. But I mean, where's it at right now in the overnight session? Because
It is. I was just looking that up. Hold on.
307 to 310 be a decent area to take it down to. Underneath that, you can get
Yeah,
a
it
pretty
doesn't.
good move.
Yeah, it looks like maybe around 310 it's trading, roughly.
It's at 308.60 right now.
Yep. Yeah, so that's another one I was looking. But I just think a lot of these names,
308.60.
bigger picture, I mean, even like the majors, the mag names, I mean, I'm sure Apple and Tesla and, Microsoft and Nvidia, all these names are probably getting crushed overnight. But the one I looked at, I talked about this, I was on a different space last night. Pull up Google on the daily chart real quick because I'm
I,
sure this name is going to get it's going to break, and I think it's going to be a big break. And I kind of see a head and shoulders there. If you look, left shoulder right where the G is.
yeah.
I mean, it's not the cleanest one, I would say, but in Google right now is trading 289, which is not good. It already broke that neckline right at 296. Um,
So I was looking at it earlier. This is Friday session. It closed right on its weekly 21. So I think if you start to this area kind of right here, honestly, if it comes down, if it breaks underneath this overnight session, any kind of bounce back up into this area, I think you can sell that thing. You could see Google back down underneath 260, getting closer to 250 after that.
Yep. And then if we lose that, it's a long way down, but 235 and then 207 if all of a
Where's
sudden
it?
we really fall apart.
Where's it currently at in the overnight session? It's at
289.
yeah,
So it's lost that daily neckline. I mean,
sitting
it's
right
not
there.
that right shoulder's kind of weak on the daily chart, but it's clean enough. You've had equal lows there that you lose that horizontal support right at 296.12. Um, you should get a flush.
So that point right there is where it is currently trading at in the overnight session. So if you see any kind of buyers that step back in and then again just kind of come back up into this area, I mean, even just risking this kind of double bottom area, which is at 296. So reclaiming 290, getting back into the low, 292 area. Again, going short here, tight stop if it ends up pushing back above 296, right? $4. Even coming back down to test this current area in the low 280s, that's already putting you at a 2.5 risk to reward. But for a long term swing trade, if it does even get down to 260, I mean, even go down to 250, oh my goodness gracious, that's going to put you at a 1 to 11 risk to reward trade right here. Um, so
Yeah,
that could be a good one for Google because Google has been a little bit more
it's been stronger of the mags, and it's probably one of
resilient.
those. Yeah,
Ye-
correct.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was looking at earlier. And I didn't send out the chart just because I was like, it just needs a little bit more time before I kind of say and draw what I just drew on here. I was like, I don't want to jump the gun on it just yet because it just hit its weekly 21, and it's been super freaking strong since August, just straight up. But yeah, you can see maybe a little bit of exhaustion now, and then just overall weakness within the market with the overall strength that it just had. I mean, again, freaking buyer exhaustion. You see sellers step in, take Google down. It could be a really good move down here. And that volume profile puts you in the low 250s. And then after that, you're probably going to see like 235, 234 area. Um, so that's not a bad one either. I haven't checked the banks overnight. I'm sure
They're getting
they're
all
probably
getting
get,
rugged.
getting smoked right now. Let's see. A lot of them, it looks like they're down 2%. BAC is sitting directly at Friday's low. So banks, I had a lot of these on watch, and I sent these out earlier. So you had a nice little wick down here on BAC. It closed with a little green hammer candle. There's a gap to fill above. Honestly, banks and X left have been absolutely getting their dick pushed in for the last month or so. Just underneath your daily 9 and 21, this has been really good sell. Lower, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Just made another lower low. Obviously, not looking to chase it short, want to look for these areas of support, bounce it, come back up, target your daily EMAs, and then flip it and reverse it. So it's kind of what I'm looking at on Bank of America. Another one, Morgan Stanley, same thing right here. There are some lows back from October and then November of 2025. Would like to see if buyers continue to step in and defend there. It tapped in really close to that area, just missed it, but near that 155 down to 153, and it got a really strong daily close at 160. But obviously, again, in overnight session, Morgan Stanley is currently down, I think, 2%. Um, my Weeble's not loading. There it is, 2.82%. It's at 155.75. So in the overnight session, it is currently sitting at right there on this white line. So again, not looking to FOMO and go short here. I think it can provide an opportunity to get a potential small relief bounce off of this, take it back up to the 160s, and then again look to flip it short back up there and bring it back down. So Keep an eye on your banks. Morgan Stanley, MS, Wells Fargo, WFC, Citigroup is another one, ticker C. Very kind of similar area, kind of just tapped into. This right here is kind of what I look for every single day because this is just clear as day. Resistance, resistance again right here, and then not a surprise, big green candle breaks through this, right? And then they take it all the way up. This is the first time if you draw that zone over, this area has now been retested since then. So again, risk to reward would look to go long uh, on Citigroup down there, but um, it is a little bit extended from the daily EMAs. It could see a move back to 110. Probably going to be down here near that 103 area. I think even risking $1 or $2 downside for potential $8 move upside is good risk to reward for a long. So if there's any kind of relief bounce within the banks this week for whatever reason, just sympathy bounce, whatever it is, you see XL left as one of these sectors that are slightly green. You do see banks pushing up while tech is dragging ass or some other things aren't really doing too much. Again, just check on your banks as well, see how they're doing. If you see XL left green, go take a look at your BAC, your JPM, your Morgan Stanleys, and see what those charts look like on the larger time frame. And you could be able to catch a nice little sympathy move back to the upside off of these lows before potentially, shorting the pops back up here and selling lower. So keep an eye on your banks. Last two I'm going to cover MRK. Keep an eye on healthcare as well going into this week. Again, get out of tech, look at some other things, look at healthcare. Ticker MRK, it just hit its daily 50 SMA for the first time since November of 2025. So this is the first time it's back testing this area right here. It did have some resistance around 113 prior. And again, like the previous chart, resistance, not a surprise, big green candle rips through this, getting really close to back testing that. And again, right there at that daily 50, you could see a little bit of a relief bounce right there. Um, Also, another dumpster diver trade. Not too many people talk about this name, but 3M, ticker MMM. It printed a Morningstar reversal back in January, right off this level of support. Your daily volume point of control shows it down there in the low 150s. It did just tap back into that area after getting slapped to the downside. So this could be a little bit of a dumpster diver trade. You'll even see previous price action over here. Every time it came in that area, it chopped around for a very, very long time. Again, this is what I call beautiful price action. You can make money in both directions. This is clear support over and over and over again. And then all they do is take it to the same resistance over and over and over again. Just like the same two charts that I just mentioned before. Not a surprise. There's a giant green fucking candle right here. They rip straight through it. They pull it back down. What do? They SR flip it. They bounce it. They take it back up. Look where they took it up to. Look, mark the zone. What'd they do? They sold it every single time. The same spot, the same spot, the same spot, right? I like looking at charts like this that respect these specific areas or these zones and these buyers step in. That middle box right here, look, extend it back over. Look what happened again. Boom, they bounced it. What did they do again? They bounced it. Draw the top zone where they reject it. Same shit over and over and over again. This is the easiest way to make money trading the freaking stock market is find areas where they keep respecting back and forth for this price action. Doesn't freaking matter. So again, previous price action shows this is an area where I should be looking to see if buyers step in and defend. If they do, I want to take it back up to retest the daily moving averages. So it's the reason why I like looking at setups like this. So I don't know how many people out there really care about 3M or trading MMM, but I'm telling you right now, if you see half of tech doing decent this week, the other half selling off, spying cues, can't really figure out what they want to do. We're going up a few dollars, coming back down a few dollars, and you see MMM for whatever reason up 5 or 6% this week, just to let you know, Casey Traders was the one that told you to keep it on watch. This is one of those individual names that you can potentially make money this week looking at these individual names. So get out of tech sometime this week. If you're not seeing that action over there, look at other charts like this on larger time frames. I think they can provide really, really good setups, low risk, higher reward trade setups to obviously extract money from the market and into your pocket. So that is the last chart right there for me that I'm going to cover. If Will has any closing statements or charts, you can go ahead
Yeah,
and
I just
throw those up.
just FYI, oil just hit new highs, almost 112 here now. So
Ooh,
oil is still to the upside, 112.17, just broke through the 112 and going higher. So
that's insane,
that is
dude.
going to push the market probably lower. I think
Yeah.
I think I think SPX very likely tomorrow. There's two things. Let's just cover this real quick. I'll throw my screen back up,
Yeah.
and I just want
Here,
to
I'm gonna
talk
pull
about
yours up.
credit as well. Give me 1 second. Switch to this one. Just HOG. So I'll cover this real quick first. Um, so this is something I've been talking about for a while, which is high yield. And we had this thing start to break down back here in October. This was the big first move. We popped back up and we've been kind of in this channel. But look at what we just did. We just took out this entire range to the downside right here and also took out this swing low at 79.75. And I would expect this tomorrow is going to open up down here somewhere, probably, in the low 79s. But this is a big proxy for where the market goes. So credit starting to break down. HYG, JNK is the other one you can watch. If you looked at last week, this thing was falling apart even as the market was trying to hold up. And then you had the big ugly two candles last week. So the junk bonds not performing well, which means credit spreads are widening, and that is not going to be good for the markets in general. So keep an eye on those two. If for some reason we see these this week start to firm up before the S&P does, that would be a sign that maybe there's divergence in here. But usually when these are selling together with the S&P, that's a sign to be a little bit more cautious. But on the go here. So on SPX, I think that the daily, let me zoom this in. I think there's two levels that are probably in play. This 200 period is 65.82. So I think that's not that far away from where we are right now. We could hit it in the overnight session. I mean, we're trading 65.98 in the futures right now, and you're probably getting pretty close to this level on the cash index. Probably another 10 points lower. You're going to hit the 200. If for some reason we blow through this tomorrow, this is probably your spot. 65.21 is this equal low right here uh, from back in November. So I would look for 65.21, but the futures overnight are going to come right to this level here in probably in the next 10-15 minutes. Is oil now continues the march higher here over 112 and a half now, which is pretty insane. So I think that's a level on S&P. NDX would be probably, I'd look for this area, 23,854 in the cash. Um, that's probably a level that could get hit because you're probably already knifing through this at this point. You're probably a little bit below the 200 on the cash. And then the Russell, this is another one. Like, look at what happened to the Russell here. Big defined trend line, touch here. You had this distribution up here, and now this has started to break trend and probably ends up opening somewhere around this 2480. So I'd look for the 2480 area is a level support in the Russell. So that's kind of big picture of the levels I'm looking at, but I think the futures are going to get a little bit more nasty tonight if oil keeps. Here you go, oil now 114, just continues to
That's
just grind higher, up 25%
I
at
just
this point.
checked. I just checked XOM, Oxy, Valero, a lot of these other names. That's like the only green things on my watch list. Uh, Walmart is only down 75 cents.
That's a
So
it's a good thing.
shout out to Walmart again. This is going to be something I'm watching tomorrow. Market's taking some heat right now and dying. You got Walmart trying to hold up the entire freaking market right now, putting it on its back, only down, a few cents in the overnight session. I'm absolutely going to keep that on watch. So maybe a little bit more relative strength over there. But yeah, the only thing I just scrolled through like 215 stocks on my watch list, and the only things green are XOM, Oxy, VLO.
Yeah.
Nothing else is is green right now.
No, I would say that probably realistically, like if oil does not let up, like if this thing just keeps going towards 120, market's going to be down. I think S&P could be down 300 tomorrow, and the Nasdaq will probably be down 12, 13, 1400 if you get oil towards 120.
Oh
There's
my
nothing that's going to
god.
stop it from drilling. Like if oil continues to ramp, now you're 114 getting close to. Look at this thing just out of control, vertical. This could race to 120 right now. So that's you're talking oil up 25% from Friday after it was up 15%.
Bro,
So
I filled up gas over the weekend when I was traveling, and my Type R takes premium. It was 4.79 a gallon in
yeah,
South Carolina when I was passing through. I have
the
not paid that high of gas prices in forever.
yeah, so I think this week or if you're trading tonight or tomorrow, whatever it is, you need to have oil on your chart because if there's a big pullback in oil or vice versa, oil's ripping to the upside, that is going to be a direct indication of which direction the market goes. Like you see oil just rip into the upside, market's going to get sold, and vice versa. Oil starts coming way off, you'll probably see a bid in the equity side. So I think you got to keep that on your radar.
Yup, I agree. You think tomorrow, out of the gate, within the first little bit of the session, you think if oil is still up to where it is right now or even higher, it's going to be an instant try to fade it?
You're saying oil or the market? I think. I mean, it depends. Like,
Fade
I think.
oil, fade
Yeah.
the pop.
Yeah. I think you could. I just. I mean, I guess they could run it up to 120. Anything's possible. But you look here, oil's just come back off like a dollar, $2, and all of a sudden, S&P just bounced like 10, 12 points. So, um, I think if we get close to testing that 200 day on S&P, which we got real close probably just here a minute ago, that low tick there was 25.90. So that probably puts the cash market right at the 200 day on SPX. So that may be your low that holds overnight as long as oil doesn't race to 120 from here. But it is crazy. I can't believe. I mean, that's a big number, man. 100.
Like
You talk.
look at XOM or like VLO. Like
I
especially
think.
VLO right now, like on a weekly, like
I,
absolutely insane. Now these things are still up another 5%, you know, after hours. Like they're getting very extended, but
I think you fade over the next, 2, 3 weeks. I think you could put some put spreads on, XOM, Chevron, Valero, all these names that have run up. Because if there is any indication of some type of de-escalation, these oil names will get absolutely smashed. And then they'll probably get the bids back in tech and all this other stuff that's been beaten up. But I
hmm
definitely want to fade the oil producer names because here's the other thing. The further we go up, we start getting to 130, 140, 150, it's now going to create demand destruction and it's actually going to hurt the big oil companies because there'll be less oil being like there's going to be less gas and oil being bought and consumed because if you have $7, $8 gas, people are going to drive less, right? So I don't think that's a good thing for the oil companies. So I think you fade them.
yeah, I thought about putting Oxy, XOM, VLO, and CVX on the top of my watch list for potential fades tomorrow, but I don't
I
want to.
definitely think you got to swing them a little bit longer than a few days. I think you got to give yourself a little bit of time to be right.
I would only
And
do April's
yeah,
like
for sure,
April
100%.
April's would be the ones I would take, and I would potentially day trade those if we start to get a pullback. If if I really wanted to get some a good swing trade on it, I would be going out. I mean, even June, July's, I mean, even going closer to the end of the year potentially on some put options, but even starting to trade those
I
names,
mean,
I
look at
the
these.
first
They're
ones I would
just
do is April 17th, I think is the options
yeah,
expirations.
that would be the next that would be the next level there. Would
Yeah.
be the April 17th is
Yeah. So
probably what I would look to
those would be the
trade.
first ones that I would take if I'm going to short any of these. Those are the first ones I'm going to take. at least well over a month out minimum.
Yeah, I think
So
I think you can fade them and
actually, I'll go ahead and throw them on my watch list real quick. We'll do CSX, we'll do XOM, we'll throw those up there. Oxy is actually a little bit different because Oxy was lagging for the longest time. Um,
here's what's crazy. I just threw a wild. I just sold the 350 calls in oil. I sold a 5 lot for 35 cents out in April. The 350s just traded for 35 cents. Think about that. You're talking about another $200 higher from here. That's insane that there's bids
if
in there.
if that happens,
We're
like
done. Like if oil, if I have to be short the 350 future, think about that. The only way that position I lose on it, right, is that the oil would have to be trading at 350 at the time of expiration, and I have to be put to the futures, right, because I get called away, and I have to short contracts at $350 oil. S&P will be below probably 3,000.
yeah.
Like gas, what would gas be? So if I'm long SPX puts, how do I not go out and sell calls on oil till my hands bleed? Because
Yeah.
if oil's 350 and it hits my strike, the market is we're done. Everybody's looking for jobs. It's like the apocalypse. We'll be in the streets. We won't even be trading. Like think about it. Can you imagine 15 or $18 gasoline? What would happen in this country?
That would be freaking insane.
There's
I want
just
to say
no way.
there's no way that can happen, but at the same time,
No, there's no way. Look at this. Oil's
yeah,
still going.
I feel like there has to be no way that that could happen. But
Look at this. Bear flag or bull flag here. We opened up right at
oh my
97
God, oil.
and just sticking and going. This is crazy. I mean, we traded 92 on Friday. We were in the 70s on Thursday. And when the first pop, which was last week, I know it's hard to see. Let me zoom in. The first pop, oil was 67. We had that initial spike to 75. We're all the way up at 115. We're still going. Look at this.
That's insane.
Like, they're just going to drill the market from here. I mean, we could be down. Where do you go from here? Oops.
I just set an alert on Oxy at $58.50 to start looking at a short between 58.50 and $60 if that hits tomorrow or this week. Um, if it starts to break above that, you do have a trend line which will hit closer to $65. That would be the reshort number two. I think reshort number one could be between 58.50 and $60. So I did just set an alert on Oxy. I am going to put that on top of my watch list as well because
Here, I think,
this is
I
getting
mean,
insane.
look, I mean, we're right at the basically call it the 200 day on SPX. We're very close to it. Based on where the futures are trading, it's probably like right here. But I mean, how does this not get in play right here? You know what I mean? Does that look like? I mean, you're below it on the continuous contract for ES, but 65.40 and then 65.25. Those are the two levels. We're not. It's not that far away in this tape. You could easily drill another 50 points. So hopefully it
It's,
holds here. But
it's going to be a fun week.
here's your level on NQ right here, 23,904. I have some limit buys down there sitting right at this level. So if we tag this low, you're going to be pretty extended to the downside, and I would like to buy that low if I can get it. I'm going to buy it small and try and see if we can play it back to the upside. You're talking down right now around 650 in the Nasdaq already, 150 handles in ES. Pretty crazy.
Freaking ridiculous.
So if you
Oh,
this is the first time, here's the other thing too. This is the first time we've seen this type of market. I would not just expect some V-shaped bounce or V-shaped recovery. Is a lot of these charts, you look at these, let's just roll through the mag real quick. Like
I think if we got any bounce recoveries, it wouldn't be instant V shape. It would be a very slow melt up to go
yep.
retest those areas and then instant move back down. I don't think it's going to be a quick move straight back up. It would be a very slow grind up before a reshort at a lower high.
So here's, I think Tesla I just looked was trading 386. So you're gonna be down right at these support levels here. Apple, you're probably gonna be somewhere in the mid 250s, I would imagine. Nvidia, that's gonna be below the 200. You're gonna be probably here, I think.
I think
Um,
Nvidia's toast
and
finally.
then you take out all that support. Microsoft, maybe I think it's 399 right now, so we're back at the support level. That's probably the best one right now.
Yep.
Google, we know that's gonna fall apart. Meta probably goes back to this trend line, and then we'll see what happens there. Amazon, this looks terrible. Below the 200, below the
It filled
50.
that gap right above, like almost to the penny, and then got smacked.
Yeah, right at 220. Netflix, obviously, I think that one pulls back to the 9. It's probably a buy.
Let's go, Netflix.
Broadcom is trading, I think, 316 in the overnight session. So you're down here, and then AMD, like you talked about, I think is a great spot to go fill this gap down here at 170. And there's a lot of so like what do we look at just in these mag names where you're like I want to be well I don't want to be long term in these or like in the short term even over the next like 3 to 4 months. I think these are going to have problems. I think it's going to be more either some type of move. It might not be this aggressive, but it might just be like a stair step lower until we get down here in 57 on the mags ETF. Or do we trade it like back in 2022? I don't know. But I
I
think
think
that
I think
you,
almost you're getting into the question as do you want to hedge your long-term portfolio and investments by swinging January 2027 puts on a few of these names? Like if I own Amazon, Apple, AMD, whatever it is, down like Amazon right there. I mean, if I own that thing at 150 bucks, um,
you know what you could do here like Amazon still looks good, I think, as long as this trend line holds. I think this is very important that we hold, call it somewhere around 198, 190, call it 200 just for easy math. But you got a lot of structural support between 188 all the way up to 200, and I still think this is we break below this trend line. I think what you can do in the short term is go out 14 DT or go out to the 30 DT and just start selling calls in these
yeah.
names that you own. I think that's a great strategy because, like I've told you guys this for a while. Like one of the names that I sold calls in all last fall was Tesla. I would just, in this whole chop zone, I just kept selling like the 600 calls. There was so much juice in them, and every time we'd go down, I'd just roll them down, and the chart looks like this. Like, and if we're below the 50 and you're below these key moving averages, like, I'm not that nervous about selling calls up here because, I try not to do it around earnings, obviously, but, when we don't have earnings in front of us, like, find the names that are a little to the weaker side, and you can just sell premium against those names.
Yeah.
Um, Look at the 2-year bond getting crushed. I was just pulling this up. This is yields going higher because the bonds are selling off, and that's breaking trend as well. That's not a good sign. Like this is, I would say you're almost in like kind of the worst case scenario. Oil going higher, interest rates going higher, equities going lower, credit selling off. Like you have like the perfect storm of bad news, and you're either
uh,
going to need a headline from Trump or you're going to need some type of de-escalation that this thing's going to be over in the next, week or 2 weeks or something like that, where
I
it's just
think we're
calmed
gonna
down.
see that head. I think we're gonna see that headline this. I think we're gonna see two headlines this week. I think we're gonna see one headline from Trump saying that he is about to hit Iran harder than ever, whatever it is. He's gonna state that, and then I think within the next week or so, by that point, I think then you could see the flip side of that to where they're gonna be like, all right, we're coming to some kind of resolution now, because it could be something crazy, getting other countries involved, more people trying to step in, and then we'll see that happen. I think we're going to see one more headline from him, just saying it's only going to get worse
Yeah.
for Iran, and then after that, he's going to be like, okay, we're in the talks. They want to talk now, or I'm going to talk now, and we're trying to come to another resolution. I think we're
I
going to see. I think we're going to see both of those headlines within the next week or two.
I would put this on your radar because I know it's not a it's boring, it's bonds, it is what it is, but TLT, this thing's been
Oh
basing
yeah,
for like 2 years, and you have all this support to your left back from the middle 2000s. I know it's on a monthly chart, it's very long term, but this thing, if you look on the monthly chart, has slowly been grinding higher, making higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and we finally reclaim the 9 monthly. There's no doubt that if oil pulls back, we just had non-farm payrolls that was negative 92,000. I think that in the back half of the year we are going to get a lot lower interest rates. And right now bonds are selling off because of the fear of that this oil inflation is going to continue a lot higher, and put a bunch of inflation fear on the headline side. But once oil rolls over, these bonds, I'm telling you, TLT will be a great trade, especially if equities are weaker, private credit's still weak, maybe earnings don't come in that great, and or we have weakness in retail sales, which we didn't have great retail sales last week. I think bonds should the TLT calls or call spreads. I think will be a good hedge to the market, and you'll probably see upside in those names, especially in
I
this one.
think. Yeah, no, I think so as well.
So I think that's all I got for now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna be a it's
We're
gonna be a wild week,
it
very
is.
very wild.
It's gonna be a fun week. So, but all right, guys, where we at? We're at an hour and 20 minutes. Definitely a lot longer than I anticipated. But we actually had a lot to cover and a lot of movement right now in the futures and overnight session. But Will, again, I appreciate Will always coming on here. He always gives the best macro outlook and everything overall on the market. One of the most intelligent people that I know when it comes to talking about all of these things. So I appreciate your time tonight, brother, coming on and
Yeah,
giving the
thanks for having
people
me.
a nice explanation on everything. So make sure you do like and repost the stream on X. Make sure you do like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Myself and probably will be hanging out on Spaces tomorrow and this week with the Wolf Financial, the Wolf X trading team. So make sure you tune into that. I will be live streaming and live trading and teaching every single day, all day within the premium Discord. So if you want to come hang out, you can click the link in my bio. If you're on X, if you're on YouTube, wherever it is, you can find my website, my store, and everything, whatever it is, to get the link to the premium Discord. It is not only myself in there, it is myself. Will actually has his own channel in there where he shares a lot of his trade ideas and charts and analysis. And then I have a few other traders in there for day trading, swing trading, options trading, and futures trading, doing every, and then I sell credit spreads every now and then as well, and then long-term portfolio alerts over there for things that I'm moving around, buying and selling, cash secured puts, covered calls, while I'm day trading and swing trading the market. Mainly been focusing on SPY, day trading this thing. We've been crushing SPY. I think within the last 2 weeks, I've had an 85% win rate day trading SPY, just hitting one or two trades every single day and done, making a couple $100 per trade and out. Same thing with doing it on the future side. So if you want to come hang out in the premium Discord, make sure you hit the link in my bio. It'll take you straight over there. You can use code KC30 right now. It gives you 30% off any purchase. If you want to come hang out with the premium Discord team, I always highly encourage everybody to get involved within a trading community. I think you surround yourself with 9 other amazing traders, you will be the 10th. So if it's my community, it's my community. If it's not, it's not. But just find one that you can connect with and grow with, and that's all that freaking matters. Continue to learn, continue to trade, and make money from the market, grow your account, grow your knowledge. And that's the goal that we're all looking for. So, again, if it's my team, it's
Absolutely.
my team. Love to appreciate, again, Will coming out this evening. And we will catch you guys on probably X Spaces and some YouTube streams this week with the Wolf team. So,
Yes, sir.
all right, guys, I'll catch you later. Appreciate you, Will.
All right, we'll catch you guys later. Enjoy. Have a good evening.
Later, brother. Have a good night, everybody.